Welcome to the February 22nd, 2024 Planning Board Public Hearing. I won't go through the safety requirements. There are two doors here, down the stairs in case of an emergency, out the front door. I have your names here. If you signed in on a sheet, it means you'd like to speak. So I'll call you in this order for that particular application. And we'll just proceed now with a roll call.
Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
The Secretary is here. Board Member Catalinato is absent. Board Member Mutu.
Present.
Board Member Neely.
Present.
And Board Member Fulham is absent. We have a quorum.
Great. Please join in for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So the first item on our agenda is Corwith Red Wine. Do we have notice, Council?
Yes, we do.
Great.
Mailing is sufficient.
Please take notice that in accordance with Local Law 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conference to consider the pre-submission application entitled Corwith Red Barn LLC. The pre-application consists of a full yield standard plan with 11 lots and a conservation opportunity subdivision with 5 lots on a 20.5026 acre property situated in the CR20 zoning district and within the agricultural overlay district, all of which is classified as Class 1A and 2 agricultural soils located at 140 Upper Seven Ponds Road, Hamlet of Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-113-3-6.1.
Lisa, you're representing?
Lisa Poyer, Twin Forks Permits, on behalf of the applicant. The property is at 140 Upper Seven Ponds Road in Watermill. It's at the corner of Seven Ponds Road and Upper Seven Ponds Road. The original approval, or the original pre-application approval was granted in 2013 of January. At that time, the map showed lots 1 and 2 via winding way access. Lots 3 and 4 were going to be granted access from an extension along Mill Farm Lane there. And then Lot 5 was going to be a flag strip accessed behind the out parcel from Upper Seven Ponds Road. That January 24th, 2023 staff report generated some comments from the public. At that time, the design was altered to the current design, which is currently shown. And that was a subsequent report that was dated August 8th, 2013, of which there was another public hearing that was held the prior June for the application. The planning board at that time granted a pre-application report. The town had then approached the applicant about purchasing Lot 6, which was the overall agricultural reserve property, which is 80% preservation of farmland. And since then, the town has actually purchased the agricultural development rights for the subdivision with that particular layout. So tonight's a public hearing for the proposed 5-lot subdivision with 2 lots taking off of Winding Way and then 3 parcels, 2 accessed via flag strips from the Upper Seven Ponds Road and then 1 with direct frontage on Upper Seven Ponds Road. And
So Lisa, I have
Yes.
a question. If the town already purchased the development rights, does that mean that the map is locked in?
correct.
Right, so,
The town approached the applicant before, they should have technically, before the application was complete and the sale went through. So there's really no changing of the map at this point.
no, because the development rights are all
Set with that meets and bounds description.
meets and bounds, exactly. Right.
And we are before the health department, and there is board of review approval for the undersized lots because those were less than 40,000 square feet.
The ones in the
all of the proposed 5-lot development. So those did need to go to board review with the health department. We do have that decision. We are just waiting to wrap up covenants, the standard subdivision covenants with the board of review for them to issue the actual subdivision approval.
How large are the lots?
They are 33,627 for lots 1 and 2. Lots 3 and 4 are 37,428 square feet, and proposed lot 5 is 36,509.
So they're all relatively small.
And we are seeking R20 zoning for the clustering of the map.
Lisa, could you point out
Sure.
the large parcel that's going to remain in agricultural production?
It's got access directly at that corner there, and it follows along this whole entire property line, along here, and then up into here.
So that area is going to be forever preserved?
Correct, it
So
already
that's-
is.
So that's
16.42 acres.
Yeah, I was gonna
Correct,
say
which is 80% of the
80%
original
of 20
parcel.
acres.
We
So
don't
it's a-
see very many conservation opportunity subdivisions anymore.
And they were only required, I believe it was, I don't know, 50 or 60% preservation based upon the original requirements with the code.
And they put up 80.
And they put up 80, and they reduced the density from 11 lots down to 5 lots. So it's more than 50% reduction.
Any other questions on the board? Okay, we have a list of people who'd like to speak, so I'm calling Ty Yorio, 76 Winding Way. Just go up to the podium, please. Yes.
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening.
We all got a letter, or a lot of us got a letter on Winding Way, and in it there was a map. And I'm a pretty good map reader, but this is a little better, but can you tell me exactly where this will be? Can anybody tell me? Is it right on a line? Is it Overmore? Is it,
We'll get that from, Lisa, do you want to come up and respond to that in time?
This is the cul-de-sac at the end of Winding Way?
it's exactly where I live.
Correct, and so there'll be, where the end of it is, the southern point was where this lot will start going north, and these 2 lots will be here. It's not, these lots aren't gonna move anywhere along here, they're set in place.
So one of those is right behind the last house, the odd-numbered house, which I believe is 71.
Which is this property?
Yeah.
On the right side? So part of the lot will be, part of your lot will be encompassed.
Oh, I'm here. I'm on the other side.
Oh, you're on this side.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I'm on the south side. But this is also in my sight line. And is that where it's gonna be?
That's where
That's where they're
that's
gonna
where the
be.
lots are gonna be located.
Right. And that's why we made a comment at the beginning that this map is locked, because the town bought the development rights.
These lots can't shift anywhere up on this property. They can't go any further south, because that's a different lot, and they can't migrate anywhere else.
So our quiet little Winding Way street is not gonna be so quiet anymore.
It's 2 lots.
All right. Is the potato barn gonna stay in?
The potato barn that's
Yeah.
here, the
So-
potato barn was demolished. It fell down, and there's a,
No, there's a concrete barn.
oh, the,
That's not on the property, it's adjacent.
It's not on this parcel.
no, it's not.
Has anybody thought about the impact of traffic on Upper Seven Ponds? Has it been considered, which completely floods out when it rains? Has this been considered?
Do you see the lower map there?
Yes.
That's what they're entitled to under zoning.
11 lots. Then you'd have
And no
huge traffic.
farmland.
And no ag
Was it in
reserve.
2015? I mean, I think that was altered. We were here once before, and they reduced that to what it is today.
I don't know when that was original.
2013.
2013, not bad.
So they came back 10 years later with this. As I said, we don't see very many conservation opportunity subdivisions anymore, 80% preserved. And that's some of the best soils in New York State. So it should be a beautiful farm.
Was. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Stalters? Maybe that's for, because it's Scuttle Hole Road, that might be for the other application. Do you have an Anthony Stalters on
He couldn't have
No,
written
that's
that.
fine. He would have been.
He was here.
Bob Porco? Yes.
Good evening, Bob Porco, 65 Winding Way. So this is my lot, and my house is here. I'm here, I guess, 32 years. So my concern is water problem. The water coming off of this field, when we have storms, and the weather pattern being what it is now.
Yeah,
So what happens is the water drains completely across the length of my property, goes over the curb into the catch basins. They simply can't handle that water.
yeah,
I've had storms where I'm out there and the DPW come by and the guy said to me, "We'd love to help you, but we can't. It can't handle that water." So the catch basins just can't handle that amount of water that's pouring off. Now, I came to the meeting, I guess it was 10 years ago, and they were nice enough to put up a berm. And it's breached probably
Is it?
twice.
yeah.
And again, once the water comes through, I'm not here to complain about the water coming across. I'm happy that it doesn't come into the basement. It comes painfully close, though. But if these basins don't handle the water, it just rises.
Sure.
And if it comes up another 4 inches, it's gonna come into my basement window
Yeah,
without
yeah.
question. So
Well,
it
that's
just,
duly noted, and we'll speak to engineering about this. I don't know what we can do, but something has to be done.
right,
there's
they
some-
tried, I mean,
Brownfields-
they did try. They put up a berm, but
Was
it
it
has,
like just a planted berm?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
And
but
it-
that's
it-
like beach, sand on the beach.
I
you know?
guess it's just dirt, and it seems to contain the water out in the field,
Yeah,
but I just don't know what these lots are gonna affect that
Right,
existing
the
water
flow.
problem.
So typically, when building permit is issued, they're required to, contain water from the runoff the roofs, the driveways on their own property, not allow it to flow off-site. So they would normally be required to put in dry wells at the end of driveways or connect the
Right.
roof leaders to some sort of dry well so it doesn't flow off the property.
I got you. That's
But
what
the
I
fu-
said when I came. I said,
Who's
I
the
went
farmer?
through on my property and I put these catch basins, wherever the
The
spouts.
Yeah.
Right.
the leaders go to,
Right.
yeah.
But yet, there's no way that,
Yeah.
that water
But-
coming off that
16
field.
acres of farm field.
Yeah,
and
it's a
that
tremendous
water-
amount of water.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
it's-
that's
yeah.
not town.
I mean, that's a
Is that
highway
the
department
local?
issue.
I mean, yeah.
I'm wondering if they.
Yeah,
can't
that's
put
why I
in-
don't know if I'm in the proper
Some sort of
spa-
even silver-
spot to speak
Yeah.
No, no,
about
no,
this.
I think
Well,
it's
the-
fine, because the
Yeah,
applicant is here, and
absolutely.
she's hearing what you're saying, and
Yeah.
it is an issue, and,
It's almost like, honestly, like, I'm there 32 years, so I'm always thinking, what could I do with this? If you put another couple of catch basins in here and tie them to the line, it's just fruitless. It's just because the line can't handle it. It almost needs 2 additional lines going to the sump, which is right here.
Oh,
There is a sump
This is a sump, yeah,
Is it
it's,
town
honestly,
sump?
it's probably 150, 200 yards away. But that's where you have to,
something could be done
relieve the
there,
water
maybe.
into that
Yeah.
sump.
I
That's
wonder
right,
if it could be
there's
regraded somehow.
Yeah.
a town,
Field.
You
catch.
making notes, Lisa?
Yes, yes, sir.
Who was the farmer? Who owns the property?
Forward.
Corwith.
I mean, they know what they should, sometimes they'll put
No,
a swale.
they're very, I'm not
Yeah, no,
complaining, I'm
no,
just trying to
but,
protect,
yeah.
I'm there 32 years, I plan on being there for whatever I have left, and then my children, but I just don't know what to do.
It's an
you know?
issue.
Yeah, that's, I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Yeah, thank you, and this, but
If
the sump,
anything, this is the time it could be addressed. If nothing happens on that field, you're gonna have the problem
Right.
for the next 32 years. So
Sure.
now that we're creating a few lots there may be an opportunity to maybe regrade
Yeah,
and channel that water into the sump.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but
something.
we'd now be working on a land owned by the town of Southampton, not
They
Corwith's
own the
property.
development
Yeah.
rights.
Well, we own
Yeah.
the development rights, but the
Yeah.
farmer owns the fee, and typically a farmer is responsible for keeping the water on their property as well.
Yeah, the
And
way.
they, sometimes they'll be able to put a swale or something that contains the water. We had an issue with Lewis Road over in East Quogue, but it was a lot of water running off the farms
Yeah.
over there. And we were working with the county soil and conservation folks, and they had some pretty good ideas, so that might be something else.
I mean, they do, it's not like they're not trying, they
Yeah,
they
well,
go
of
out
course,
first thing in the
obviously.
spring and they rough up the dirt,
Yeah.
so that you do get drainage. But that's the biggest problem, in the early spring, late winter, when the ground is somewhat frozen, and then you
Yeah.
get those heavy rains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I mean,
March. It's like concrete.
Good, well, I'm glad you came, Bob.
Thank you very
Duly
much.
noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed Burke, Sag Harbor? Hmm. I have Sag Harbor people here. Seth
Maybe for the second application?
Plaza? Second application is the Atlantic Golf Club, so it's not that close. All right, I'm gonna go to the next
They must
Core with
remember.
Red Barn, which is,
Sign-in sheet up on the.
Andrew Roof, R-O-U-F-F.
Hey,
Andrew,
thank you for
There you
allowing
go.
me to speak.
yes,
I've had an opportunity to speak to a couple different members of the community, and uniformly the response to this proposal is a negative. We don't want it in our neighborhood. There's a lot of reasons why, and I'll go into. I just want to be clear, and I think you guys know this, but I want to make sure that people who are listening, that everybody understands, the town has already preserved the 16-plus acres. There's no chance for 11 homes to be put back there. This is the only possibility, correct?
Yes.
That 5 houses could be.
Only
Okay, so
5.
thank you to the town previous boards, and thank you to the members of this board who preserved that. But here we are now, a decade or so from the original proposal from this applicant to put these properties in place, and a lot has changed in this community, and we simply can't handle any more burden of new properties. The traffic on both Mill Farm Lane, which the town board is very well aware of and has not yet been able to solve for us, is just something that has gotten exponentially out of hand with Google Waze. We literally have people who cannot get out of their driveways, young children who are afraid to go down the street, and elderly people who are afraid to go for a walk. In the last few years, it has been a night and day difference to what's going on this
Yeah.
street. And same thing with the folks on Winding Way, with people coming up and cutting through and getting lost back there. And we can't have any more density. We're at a max, and when this was approved 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. I've been out here in my home now for the last 15 years, and just even since 2020 with COVID, the change is remarkable. I'm sure you guys, you live out here, you see it too.
Right.
We can't have it. We have a perfectly functioning agricultural reserve, as you say, the best soil in the state, probably the world, and this only shows the half. There's another whole half of 40 acres on the other side
Right.
that these two homes that you're talking about right here are going to bisect. For what? To
well,
add,
they're entitled to a conservation opportunity, subdivision opportunity, preserves 80%. I mean, this is rare that people are willing to do that. And so you have 5 houses versus 11, but vis-à-vis your traffic issue, the town has formed a traffic study committee,
I'm aware.
which is a great step forward because we are dealing with traffic problems and woes all the time. And Tom is on that committee, which is wonderful. So hopefully they will look into statistics and some solutions because we all suffer from the traffic.
No, I know. But you say they have a right. I mean, I don't understand they have the right. The town has purchased the agricultural land. That's done and dusted for over a decade. They're coming before this committee with a request to build these 5 homes, so they need permission. How do they automatically have a right to put those in? Like, the ship has sailed on that. Times have changed.
No,
The
no.
town didn't buy those sections. Those are the sections that the town didn't buy.
So what are we doing here?
With site
Those
plan,
are,
They're asking for permission to put
No,
homes
they
there.
have permission.
that
When?
we're just looking at the site plan
When do they have permission from?
when the town purchased.
Town purchased the
That,
development rights.
I can read just as well as you guys online. If you go online,
that
that permission expired. They had got 3 extensions over the time to when this was put in. And if, first and foremost, with the last one, it said if they don't come back within the prescribed time period, they have to start all over again.
that's what they're doing.
And they're
starting
doing
all
starting
over.
over.
So then they don't have permission.
No,
They
they're
don't have
seeking
lots,
permission.
no, you're correct. They do not have lots in those areas. We're creating those lots as part of the subdivision. Those lots don't exist now.
Right, and they're asking for permission from
Correct.
you guys, right?
Correct, under zoning, as they're entitled to under zoning.
Okay, and we're here to tell you the community doesn't want this farm broken up.
You hear that.
The traffic can't handle it, the floods, as the gentleman prior to me spoke to, are unbelievable. This year, obviously, we had that storm that I don't think anyone has seen, but every one of our yards was completely flooded from this farm. And we love the farm. We're happy that it's a working farm. We support that it's a working farm. It's not some rich person's backyard that they're using as a playfield. This is a functioning
Right.
potato farm.
And it's been preserved.
It is being
have
preserved,
to
but now
look at
we're
the
gonna
benefit
take
of it.
5 more lots out of it.
No.
to-
They're entitled to, they were entitled to 11 lots.
80% is.
They're not entitled to 11 lots. They
Yes,
couldn't
they-
build 11 lots
they
today,
are.
no matter
Well, they
what.
were,
10 years ago, they were. The
Zoning
town
and
bought that
code.
land.
but the town didn't buy these 5 lots.
Right.
That
But
remain.
there's no 11 lots. They can't build 11 lots.
That's correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're only talking about these 5, and I'm telling you, no one in the town that lives in this area is supportive of these 5 lots. We don't want it. We don't want the density.
Okay, we
We
hear
don't
you.
want the
Thank you.
flooding. We don't want to see working farms taken out of service.
But it's not.
It is.
going
It's
to
5
be-
more lots removed from that farm that are being farmed. It's
They're still-
5
they're not-
acres.
They're not farming those 5 lots. are
Yes, they absolutely are. They're
Well,
being,
then
they're,
they're being taken out.
these lots right here are absolutely 100% being farmed. That's not accurate. I live there. I see it. We can walk out there after this
Okay,
meeting.
let's,
I was asking the question.
let's Lisa make a comment if she wants. Lisa, please.
And the landowner right now is allowed to farm those lots. Even if they were full residential lots, they'd still be allowed to farm them. There's oftentimes a subdivision that's created that creates residential lots
But they
that are
don't
adjacent
build.
to farmland that those family members continue to farm.
Right.
So just because they're farmed right now does not mean that they are not eligible for development.
I understand.
Or that they may not be built,
We're
you know,
saying
for
that
a
we
while.
don't want them to be eligible for development. We don't want them built. We don't need more density.
Well,
When do we say
you're-
enough out here? When do we say it's no more taking over the farms? We don't have very much left.
You know, I don't think I've ever heard somebody at the podium speak about a conservation opportunity subdivision with 80% of the land preserved as a farm and complain about it.
So does that take away the validity of what I'm saying, that this is the first time?
Yes, yes,
Really?
It
Okay.
does.
I respectfully disagree.
you're in error.
Sir, do you understand the concept of zoning?
I do.
Okay, zoning is the community's message to the landowner, how they want that land used. Now, is this property zoned for agriculture or for house lots?
This property
Is it
right here,
zoned?
it's zoned for agriculture.
No, it's not.
Incorrect. Incorrect.
Okay, so it's zoned for
House
housing.
lots, correct.
So it's, these 5 lots are zoned.
The entire parcel is zoned for house.
That's not correct. Now you're just engaging in arcane
No.
legalese.
I'm not
They
engaging.
couldn't put houses anywhere but in these 5 spots. It was
The
just said.
landowner came to the town and said, I'm gonna take this residentially zoned land and sell it to you, sell the development rights.
Right.
So now it can't be built on.
Can't
But
be
the
built on.
remainder of the house, of the properties are zoned residential, and that's what they're in for.
Okay, and we're here saying we don't want them to
We
be
understand
approved.
that.
Okay, well,
understand
we duly noted and duly recorded.
Okay, it doesn't
But
really,
you'll still have your farm.
we'll still have a
and you're
farm
lucky.
with 5 less acres being farmed.
You're very lucky, yeah,
We're very lucky.
I do. Think so.
Okay, so you guys have made your decision. You're going to approve this.
No.
The
No
only
decision's been
possibility
made.
would be if the town
No.
chose, if
Yeah.
the owners and the town approached the owners to buy those lots at fair market value would be
Okay.
the only way
you have,
we could have not have
Yeah,
those.
you-
okay,
That's actually-
when you
that's
come
correct.
up, yeah.
The,
that's
the only,
true.
the only final thing, and I appreciate you for letting me speak, and I'm sure I've
Yeah.
gone over. The only final thing I want to say is I find it, and I think everybody understands, why was this put after 10 years on the agenda on December 28th? And why are we having this hearing this week on President's Day when multiple people can't be here to have their views present? I think we all know why that is. It's to tamp down the community opposition from this and get it done quietly when there's fewer people to come by, see the sign up on the field. And I think it's disingenuous, and I think we deserve better than that. And I think it should be tabled until later in the year when more people who have and are affected by this have an opportunity to speak to it. And the last thing I will say is there are several people who are online who want to speak to this, and I'm told they don't see a mechanism how to do that. Is there any way that people who are logged in on Zoom can comment, or are you only able to comment in person?
They will be
No,
given a
they're
chance
on
to speak.
Yeah.
The Zoom is open, yeah.
Okay,
People
they're
are
on-
there.
They're on there, they're saying
Yeah.
they don't see anything, so if anybody can help them.
Once we hear the people here, we will open Zoom.
Yeah,
There's a call-in mechanism too. for Zoom.
right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you
Thank you
very
for your
much.
time.
And you could
I-
still write letters.
Yeah, there will be a write-in.
The-
I don't know if the next person, T.A. Labor Lattice on 111 Mill mean, the handwriting is indecipherable. I don't, custom something. But the next Corwith is Lisa Ravel, 80 Winding Way.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm at 80 Whiting Way. My name is Lisa Ravelli, and I'm directly across from where these lots would be built.
Where are you?
These two right here.
Where are you? Can you point out?
Sure, I am I'm basically right here. Like this driveway goes to my neighbor that's here, I'm right here.
Okay, so you're off that parcel. You're not on that.
I'm not here, no, I'm across the street. Yeah,
You're off the map.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so I agree with what everybody has said so far, and I just want to add that I don't want these lots being built. Part of the charm of Watermill is having open farmland, and I just feel like this cut into this like nice rectangle here doesn't make sense to me. And yeah,
Okay, thank you. Your comments are noted. Is there anyone else in this room that would like to speak to the Corwith? Because I think the
I
rest
just
of,
want, like,
you have to come up to the, give us your name and,
Mary Aquino, and I'm at 45 Winding Way. So I would like to see the town buy those lots. I know that this is a said and done deal, and the only really recourse would be for the town to buy them at fair market value. And that's what I'd like to see happen. I mean, community preservation money goes all over the place, and I know it went for the farm itself, but then
well, those are
maybe.
development rights, not
I know, but
CPF.
the money went from the
Yeah.
Community Preservation Fund to buy the development rights. I'm aware of that. But now I'd like to see them buy these lots, especially here at the end of this road, because it ruins everyone's view.
The two lots down at the bottom?
Yes.
The best thing to do is, understand this board doesn't purchase.
I know.
Yeah, if you contact your town board members and the supervisor, and impress upon them the importance of these lots,
The town-
they control the purse
supervisor
strings.
and the town
But you do
board.
need a willing seller before they,
I know,
yeah,
I know.
so,
But if it's fair market value and that's what they want,
yeah.
Whatever.
You'd probably purchase the town if they were interested in.
Please, yes,
Preservation
come up.
Department was to be interested if they'd buy not the full fee, they would buy the development rights before to keep ownership of the property. Probably.
Hi, I'm Tom
Logical way to
Lawless,
go.
and I
Tom?
live,
Tom Wallace?
Lawless. I'm the illegible writer. there.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's my left.
TA, are you
TA, Tom, I'm Tom.
Okay,
So
good, Tom.
I'm at number 11 Mill Farm, which is right here.
Yeah,
And I would just like to echo that, this beautiful swath that, like Andrew said, goes all the way down as well. I would just hate to see it punched out here. And I echo if there's any way the town or whomever can buy these two and optimally this, it's just, if you drive or if you run on Upper Seven Ponds and you look, it's just one huge field going all the way down. And this would just mar it. And here, when you look from here, the barn is actually here. When you look from here, you look straight. It's all the way to the train tracks, all the way to almost 27. It's just one big rectangle. And great. That's a perfect picture.
yeah.
And you just punch right in the middle of it, and you also lose the vantage you get from Upper Seven Ponds, looking south.
Well, as we said, send a letter. Send a letter
I
to
shall.
the town board, because we can't do that.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one question? I'm so sorry to return.
Yes.
One other thing that I forgot to mention is I've understood that now in a 5-unit or more subdivision, there's a workforce housing component that forces an additional property to be added. And so I wonder, since the properties and parcels are now locked here and they're asking for 5 homes, how can they possibly add a 6th without actually taking one of these lots and cutting it down? Again, something that is not in the flavor with the community or the neighborhood at
I
all.
don't know if a conservation opportunity subdivision is also under that directive, that New York State directive for affordable unit. Lisa, do you know?
I believe it may
Right.
be. I'll have to confirm that with the town planner. but there are other options to do workforce housing with the subdivision as well.
The town has the option of making them pay a fee in lieu of providing the housing, so the town can purchase lands off-site. That, I'm guessing that would probably be the case in this instance.
So they can bank it in essence and do it somewhere else?
Yeah, and purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the community would absolutely be opposed to making a smaller lot
I
that
would
doesn't
agree.
fit with the rest of it also.
I mean, the genesis of this whole subdivision, just going back, in order for farmers to continue farming, when the next generation has to pay huge inheritance taxes, this is a way for them to get money to be able to continue to farm and still be able to sell some of the land.
I know.
So, it's all a good idea, and if we didn't have things like this, we would have 11 houses.
And
We'd have
we're
no
very grateful.
farmland.
We really are. We're very grateful for it, and we are going to be asking the town board to see if the family
Okay,
would
that's
consider
good.
a CPF purchase. But
That's the only
Now, I
remedy.
think there are some people on.
there are, and they've been
on
asking.
Zoom.
They say there's nothing that says like.
We have
this-
somebody who's
have-
monitoring that, so.
Well, there's a
Okay.
tech person in there.
Okay, Oh, thank you.
They have to raise their hand.
Are you ready for the people on Zoom?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're ready.
It takes a minute to get them.
Yes, please, are you on Zoom?
Nate, do you hear me?
Yes, we
hear
can hear
you
you.
fine, just give us your name.
My name is Michael Richmond. I reside at 84 Winding Way. I'm neighbors of Lisa and Ty, and I'm at the end of the cul-de-sac. And I also am opposed to this development. I think, first of all, I think you guys have permitted so much development all over Southampton, and there is so much farmland that has been dedicated to housing all over Watermill and Southampton that you should have an interest in preserving as much farmland as you can, and I don't see there's any imperative reason why, other than allowing the rich to get richer, to allow these people to continue to build on this property. What is the need for it? There is no, I think, what is the social imperative of it? There is none, other than for people to make more profit. In addition to that, I don't know if you've ever been to the end of our cul-de-sac, and I've been there for 10 years. It's essentially a highway now. So the parking on that, Ty and Lisa could add, the parking around our cul-de-sac during the weekend, and also by the other gentleman who spoke, who's next to this property, between the people who operate a temple on our street and people all over Watermill, there's no place to park all over the street. 2 cars can't get down the road at the same time. We have to, Mr. Yorio's family has to put signs out to prevent kids from hitting their grandchildren. They're between the gardeners, the trucks, the delivery people, the garbage people. Compared to where I was 10 years ago, I'm living on a highway now, as opposed to when I thought I was buying a property in Watermill at the end of a cul-de-sac that I'd have privacy and quiet. That is no longer the case. Adding, these properties and the 2 at our end, I don't think it's in anybody's interest, except, the people who are trying to make more profit by eating up this farmland, and I'm extremely upset by it. I don't know if Ty or Lisa, agree with me or don't agree with me, but literally, we're living in a highway at the end of our cul-de-sac. So how are these people gonna get in and out of their houses? How the trucks gonna get in their houses? How the garbage gonna get into their houses? How's the delivery people gonna get in their houses? There's no way that people gonna be able to pass each other on the street to facilitate them getting into their properties. I think you are making and encouraging a huge mistake.
Thank you. Can we have the next person, please? Hello, may we have your name, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Kevin Norton. I reside at 27 Winding Way, and this particular, hi Lisa Hoyer, how are you? This particular advancement on the farm is interesting in a few different ways. We have a few different lawyers looking at the nitrogen loading that's been going on, because the farmers are relentless with getting their crops to grow, which is fine. You know, we don't mind the crops growing, but there's a lot of nitrogen in the ground, and the septic systems are the new septic systems are beneficial to everybody. However, it doesn't limit the nitrogen that's going into the ground. And despite what everybody else says, you know, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, we don't like change, we don't like change. And I understand we don't like change. However, the more crucial fact here is the nitrogen that's going into the ground and the contamination of our drinking water. And so we have numerous environmental scientists looking at this on my staff, and we will present this, and you will come into a decent fight from my crew and everybody else that I can get on board. Once they get over the fact that the view changes, that's irrelevant, right? That doesn't matter.
What is your view, what is your group? Can you identify your group?
I beg your pardon, Lisa? I didn't hear you.
It's Jackie LaFaro. Can you identify your group? You say you're speaking for a group.
Yeah, Flawless Development is the group.
Which is it?
Flawless Development is
Lawland
the group
Development.
that's funding it.
Flawless Development.
And Lisa knows me, and I've used Lisa before, and we will come to a head with all of this, and we will figure out what the negative effects of this are. And it really, the environmentalists that Southampton claims to be should really have CPS look at this, or whatever the funding is, Peconic Land Trust, whatever we need to go through. And I understand this is not the forum for that, but developing there is not just an eyesore, but it's environmentally wrong. And those are my 2 cents, and I don't want to keep you, and thank you for taking the time to listen. And I second the gentleman who says we are on spring break for the kids, and this is a crooked way for the drunk Corwitz to go about getting their approval. So thank you, Lisa, for that. We'll have a conversation later.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please? This is all for Atlantic.
I have 3 people who are they're trying to speak and they can't online.
There are 3 people we're trying to get through on Zoom.
Can we call them on my phone? They could give you their name and address and speak to the speakers.
I don't see why not. I don't know why they
Well,
can't get it on
I
Zoom.
don't understand.
What's this
fellow's name? What's his name? The tech guy.
Can you ask Kevin if there's
Can you hear me?
Kevin. Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I'm Anthony Milazzo. I'm the husband of Lisa Rebelli, who already spoke. We're at 80 Winding Way. I just want to acknowledge that I was on the line and obviously agree with everything that everybody has said. You know, especially the traffic that Michael Richmond mentioned, that there is a lot of traffic around the cul-de-sac. In addition, where a driveway would even go is just a small little part of the land, that there'd be 2 driveways that would go to those 2 parcels, seems a bit ridiculous. And then what somebody else had mentioned, including my wife, about the 2 properties jutting out into the rectangle that is the farm, is really just an ultimate eyesore, and really shocked that they would think about putting 2 houses right there in that location. So again, I want to acknowledge that I was on the line as well. I'm against it, and I agree with what everybody else has said.
Thank you. Kevin, is there someone else?
That's open.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear
we
you.
can.
Vikram David, my wife Alvin and I live at 28 Winding Way. We've been in that location since 2011. And just getting up to speed on the development. So the one thing I just wanted to make sure, and I think it was raised before, but just so that everyone fully appreciates, is the amount of traffic that's already occurring on the street because of the Shabbat house, the synagogue that's on the street. You know, primarily during the weekends, but you know, it can occur at all times. And I think taking into consideration the density and the issues, primarily it's a safety issue. I've got 2 kids. I worry actually about them being on the street because of the amount of traffic as a result of the synagogue. And it's, I think others have mentioned too, when you've got lawn care and trucks parked on the street, there isn't really a lot of leeway to maneuver. And irrespective of actually of any development, which would obviously add a lot of traffic, there's a lot of, it's actually, the street is unsafe because it's almost like a commercial enterprise on the street, and you've got people speeding down the street, and it's actually a real problem. And so just wanted to voice that. And
Okay.
make that clear.
Can you give me your name again, please? I didn't.
Vikram, Vikram, last name is David, and I'm at 28 Winding Way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so like, I think that's a real concern. It's been a concern of mine prior to this development, and this is obviously just going to add up a lot more traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, others?
Bring the next one in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes.
Hi. Just briefly, my name is Jill Zenker, Zenker. I live at 64 Winding Way, and I've had my house there for 33 years. So I think I was one of the original in the development that we used to call the Heathers. I agree with what everybody has said. I strictly oppose this. Not to repeat, but the traffic, it's gotten crazy. I also have 3 children, and we are nervous, and my pets, my dog, about letting them out on the street. It's an eyesore. I remember when I bought my house 33 years ago, the broker saying to me, you have an agricultural reserve in front and behind your home, because I'm on the south side of Winding Way. Yeah, so they had said to me I had an agricultural reserve behind my home, and I would always have those beautiful sunsets from my front porch. I just want to get on the record as saying, I think enough is enough. We are done. We have enough homes on Winding Way, and we need to protect our farmland.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, more hands?
Last hand.
Yes, that's a,
Yeah. That's traffic. I think
no, they have, I don't know the permits.
We have a gentleman on Zoom.
Yes, please, may we have your name?
Jeffrey Bloom, I live at 7 Mill Pond Lane. Mill Pond Lane has become dangerous every weekday throughout the year as the contractors are all using it as a shortcut to get through. I think adding 2 houses at the end of the block are only going to make the situation worse. We've been asking the town to deal with our traffic situation. We've had no solution. It is truly dangerous, and I think further development can only make it worse.
Okay, appreciate your comments. Duly noted. Thank you. Kevin, is there someone else?
I think we have a 30-day written comment, 30-day written comment period.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 people
Oops. Can't.
They can't connect? Kevin, there are supposedly two people who cannot get through?
One more person just raised their hand.
Okay,
Can they call on the phone?
someone just came in.
Someone just came in.
Hello, this is Josh Sigmund. Can you hear me?
Are they there?
Yeah.
Yes,
Hi, this
please.
is Joshua Sigmund. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
hear you.
Hi, thanks for your time this evening. I'm an owner at 41 Winding Way, Watermill. Similar to others, just wanted to voice my strong opinion that, as a relatively new resident of Winding Way, I purchased my property in 2021, again with the understanding that we had an agricultural reserve in the backyard. I have 2 young children. We like that it's a cul-de-sac, less traffic. We really enjoy the agricultural reserve, get to experience some of the wildlife, and strongly object to any subdivision that's been proposed.
Can you tell me your last name, Joshua? Your last
Yes,
name?
Sigmund. S is in Sam. IGMON.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks. There should be one more, you say?
I have 2 more that want to speak. and they-
2 more.
I don't know if they're in the queue.
Kevin, there are 2 more people.
There are no hands raised right now.
Okay,
Can they-
Can they call in? They're residents of the.
Can we take the testimony on the phone?
I don't know.
They could certainly write
Submit a letter.
letters. We read them.
We're here, it's for the record, it would take no time, and I mean, you can check their name and first the address.
I
they
think-
have to be heard. They logged on.
I wish we had
Technology's not
the
allowing
attorney
it.
here.
Somehow blocked. Is Jim here? Okay.
Are they trying to get on and they cannot?
Correct.
They have the correct number? Kevin?
Are they watching the Zoom? Because they should, there's a little hand raising thing.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
Some people won't.
We've all gotten good at Zoom.
We've learned.
He's gonna tell
You
you.
just gotta go to the Zoom webinar, enter in the planning board information.
Can I show you what it's?
What happened to Jim?
This is the link that we sent to everybody, and you click on the Zoom link.
Yeah.
And they're in there, but they said there's nothing to raise your hand.
She's gonna come back for the second.
There should be a button that says raise hand.
She lives right
Is there a call-in number for Zoom?
Do you wanna call them at their number and see if you want them to do it, or can we just?
Or can they call in, Kevin?
Here's Christine. They're trying to get on the Zoom, but they aren't seeing the raise hand thing. Are you guys gonna leave the record open?
Yes.
Well, we'll have to.
Oh, we plan.
Yeah, just leave the record open so they get comments.
Okay.
So can we call them?
No, we're gonna leave the
You
record
can't take
open.
testimony over the cell phone?
Can't take it over cell phone.
Okay, so what?
You know that?
what-
They can
what does
write a
that
letter.
mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand. The record open means they can call you guys afterwards?
No, they can
They can
write
write a
write a letter.
Or an email.
So you just know that there are 2 other people, and I know for a fact
That's
that
all,
they're both
every
opposed.
letter, it's all recorded, it's all.
And we read all
By
of it.
law, it's part of the record.
I understand. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so we are going to leave this hearing open because there are other people who obviously want to get in and make a comment and haven't. And school holiday will long be over in 30 days, so that will be it. So I'll have a motion to.
30-day written.
30-day comment
30-day.
period.
No, we're gonna
Are we
leave it
closing
open.
it, or
No,
are we
we're
leaving
gonna
it
leave it
open?
open. They wanna leave it, Christine said leave it open. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're adjourning it.
Yeah, so we'll adjourn it and you'll get another notice for another
Well,
hearing.
What, we have to adjourn it, we have to have the date set.
What's the next? March, right?
March 4th. Is March 14th?
Is March 14th?
That might not be enough time.
But it's not enough noticing time.
Okay.
Do I have to renotice though? I mean,
No.
they're.
No,
No,
we're
you won't have to
adjourned now.
renotice.
Oh, okay, that you just said to renotice, so I.
No,
But
them.
here's a
Oh.
question. The next meeting after the 14th is the 28th. The 29th is Good Friday, and Easter Sunday is that Thursday. Now, is that would that bring more people into the hearing, or are people gonna be away again, saying, we're holding on a holiday week?
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, me personally, I think we all know, when are most people here? If Memorial Day is Labor Day, the closer we get to that.
Yeah,
the more
we can't hold it.
yeah, we can't hold it open.
We have
We can't do the
statutory
public
requirements.
No,
We
I don't
can't
even
have it
know-
for
I
March
don't-
14th?
Further out, you could push it.
I don't know that there's enough notice time.
What?
Lisa?
there's no notice.
Do you have, there's no noticing though.
There's no
Oh, right,
notice.
there's no noticing.
We don't have to do another public
Yeah.
notice,
No.
not
No.
mailing.
So we can do the 11th or whatever.
We can do the
March
the
11th.
14th?
Yeah, so we could do March 14th.
Yes.
We'll have another hearing on the 14th.
So let them know.
Okay, we'll leave it open until, adjourn it to March 14th, and you can all come back. Other people can come back who haven't spoken. We don't need a
No, we
motion
don't
for
need a
that.
motion.
No. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Really good input, thank you. Well, I mean, he had a particular specific thing. Do you believe that these people don't want to farm?
I would approve the hearing.
Oh, they want the farm, they just don't want the five.
This is, you'll get to say it and listen to say it.
He's probably a developer. I mean, not that the farmers have not.
That's why I asked, I said, do you want the map down below?
Okay, folks, we have another hearing.
Excuse me, we have another hearing. We have another hearing to begin. Thank you. So,
Like normal.
do we, well, Atlantic, we don't need notice for that, right?
We have everything that we need.
You have everything you
Yes.
need, and let's read it into the
Affidavits,
record,
mailing, and
Tom.
posting.
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan / wetlands permit application entitled Atlantic Golf Club Staff Housing. The subject project is to construct a 6,500 square foot building for living quarters for golf course employees, accessory to an existing golf course on a 203.491 acre parcel located adjacent to Short Pond in the CR 80 zoning district on the north side of Scuttle Hole Road at 1040 Scuttle Hole Road, Hamlet of Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-49-1-7.1.
Wayne,
Good evening, board members. Wayne Bruin, O'Shea, Marcinsick and Bruin, Southampton, New York, on behalf of Atlantic Golf Club, Inc. With me, we have Dennis Susskind, the president of the golf club, as well as Scott Cloyster, our manager, as well as our architect, Mr. Burke, and others, in support of the application. As the notice indicates, we're here for a site plan special exception wetland combined permit. The planning board will recall this application follows a long process where in December 16th, 2021, you actually approved this plan, pretty much in the same form and shape after an amended negative declaration. Thereafter, there were challenges which resulted in the town board amending Chapter 330 to adopt special exception standards for living quarters for golf courses. In this case, the planning board rescinded your prior approval and required us to resubmit. We did resubmit an application, pre-submission. You had a public hearing on October 26th, adopted a pre-application report on December 14th. We thereafter submitted a full final site plan application with a complete expanded environmental assessment form with several studies associated with that. On January 25th, this board adopted a negative declaration. To remind the board and the public what this application is, it is for construction of a two-story building as additional living quarters for golf course employees, which will house 16 employees on this parcel, which consists of 203 acres on the westerly side of Scuttle Hole Road. We're in the CR 80 zoning district. This board is familiar, in 1991 approved the original golf club here. There were dwellings for employee housing at that time. Thereafter, at least 4 other applications where you approved housing for additional housing for employees. We have a total of 22 housing units for the employees. We employ over 100 employees seasonally at the premises. So essentially, this will take 16 of those 100-plus employees off the road and provide needed affordable housing. The application is in the northeasterly portion of the property, one of the last vacant portions of the golf course that could accommodate such requirements, particularly with the setbacks and the location of Schwartz Pond. It's approximately almost an acre portion of our property that consists of mostly a vacant open successional field. It fronts down towards Schwartz Pond, as depicted on our site plan and asked by this board. 2 things you asked us to provide in our site plan. One was to do something to maintain the existing view shed that extends across the property, if I may, on the site plan. These dotted lines here show essentially the view shed. This is Scuttle Hole Road. And the existing wooded line along the pond frontage is here, and this represents about an acre of open field. So this is in that location. You asked us to shift it as far to the north, but trying to maintain and respect our neighbors to the north. We balanced this and located it here, but this board wanted us to maintain a visual view shed, which we agreed to. That was one of your conditions of approval, and you actually reviewed a easement for that the first time this plan was reviewed. The other thing you had asked us to consider, and we offered, was when the Atlantic Golf Course was approved, there was a trail easement to the town, to the public, that ran along the northerly boundary of the Atlantic all the way to the shoreline of Schwartz Pond. At the time that was granted in 1991, Schwartz Pond and its upland edge of the shoreline prevented anybody physically walking. Since that time, the area, the pond upland waterline has shrunk, and you asked us to consider if there was any way to continue that trail out to Scuttle Hole Road, which was a recommendation to you from the Trails Advisory Board. We worked with the Trails Advisory Board. They identified by GPS a proposed location, and we had offered previously, and our plans continue to show a potential trail across the property, and offered that. What has happened since the last time you approved this, and we asked you to consider this, and you did consider it also in the amended the negative declaration, is our neighbors to the north were 4 lots and more lots in a subdivision called Schwartz Pond Associates, the Held family. And they had 4 vacant lots immediately adjacent to us in this location and a little further to the north. And we provided in your application, since that time, the town has actually purchased the 2 lots immediately to our northwest, and they bought that for open space and preservation. The other 2 lots, they sold to a developer or builder who subsequently got building permits and built 2 houses, single-family dwellings, not much different than the houses you see that continue along the road. 2 elements. One is the entire Schwartz Pond. It seems to be the character of that is to plant green giants and block the entire view shed along that, which was a comment that came from the ARB and Landmarks that we don't want to see that continuing along Scuttle Hole Road. But that seems to be the trend, and that is along the entire frontage for all the lots to our north. But the two houses are roughly 10,000 and 12,000 square feet, which are approximately double the size of this. And just one other comment. On Tuesday, I was before the Architectural Review Board on your referral, and they should have a letter in your file that approved the current application as submitted. But one of the questions and comments to the board members, they were questioning why we were back, and they thought that we already built the house because they saw that new house out there. And the comment was, well, not only did you build it, but you also doubled the size. And I had to tell them that, no, we didn't build anything, and that was something that was on one of the other adjoining lots.
Some staff housing.
Yeah, so with respect to the character of the area, that, at least that has changed. Ms. Gabrielle, who lives adjacent, is still our adjacent owner. The other thing that we had always proposed and can continue to augment was that there was some vegetation along the common boundary line here. And our proposal, and you'll see on the landscape plan, was always to provide other evergreen screening. That was actually installed, and that exists today, some of those plantings, and if there's a need to continue that. The application is special exception standards. We provided a petition. We would submit that not only do we meet the 13 general standards, but specifically the standards, the special conditions. One of them was that we had to meet the required front yard setback for the CR 80. Our proposed dwelling does meet that at 82 feet. The other is that we needed to have at least 150 feet from side and rear lot lines, and that has been achieved. We also, at this board's previous direction, we provide parking. The only paved portion is the access and in this one handicap space. The other are grass pavers. And we also have some land bank because, again, the employees are here. Most of the seasonal employees don't have their own cars, but in case they do, they're here. They will have the continued access along the pathway that continues over to the clubhouse and do that. The other standards, the size, meets the size, has the setbacks. The other thing that occurred after your approval is we received health department approval for the IA system that is here, so that approval is in place. The DEC's also granted whatever necessary permits. So we're here to hear any comments and for final approval of the special exception wetland application. And if you have any questions, Tony is here if you want to look at review any of the architectural plans. They are here. They're basically the same as what was previously submitted and approved.
We're quite familiar with most of that. Do have some people here who'd like to speak. Anthony Stalters?
Good evening. My name's Anthony Stalters. I'm the golf course superintendent at Atlantic Golf Club, and I live directly on the opposite side of Shorts Pond with a view to the new proposed dormitory. And I also live 20 feet from some of the current dormitory on the Atlantic Golf Club property. And I just want to say that we've never had a problem with any employees that live on our property, and it's a really just a quiet operation. I'm in charge of anything after hours, so there's somebody always going to be watching that facility, and it's been my experience. I've actually lived in the current dorms at Atlantic. People come to work, they stay in their room, they go back to work. There's no really activity outside of the dorm, so
great.
I think I think it's a good project.
And you're a first-hand witness.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a Scott Klee, 1 Roger Court, Sag Harbor. That's you? Great. Your last name is what?
Kloster.
Kloster.
I'm the general manager.
If you want
Oh, okay, come on. Well, no, I did.
You don't have to speak.
You don't have to speak at all. We just have this list of speakers and you're listed. And that's probably true of Ed Burke Jr., you're right? Okay. And Tony, you're here. And what about John? Is John Halsey here? John Healy?
He was here on the other application.
Okay. Boy, the handwriting just gets worse and worse. Oh, my gosh.
We should ask them to print.
Ah. Well, we're quite familiar with the application. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I signed in downstairs. I didn't sign in that one.
Okay, so just come on up to the podium.
Hi, how are you? I am Deborah Choron of Matthews, Kirst, Cooley, and Choron, PLLC. Brian Matthews had been predominantly handling this matter for our firm, but he's away on vacation this week, so you have me. This firm represents Marianne Gabriel, the Ronald L. Braun 2012 Gift Trust No. 1, and Neil Osberg Real Estate LLC, who are adjacent neighbors. So as this board has been aware, these neighbors have been united in opposition to the application by Atlantic Golf Club to construct the 16-bedroom, 6,500 square foot multifamily dwelling, which is immediately adjacent to these single-family residences. They have always felt that it is entirely incompatible with this property and this residential neighborhood. By way of a very quick history, our client had challenged the prior site plan approval issued by the board for this project, and that approval was later revoked by this board upon the Zoning Board of Appeals finding that what the board had permitted, which was cooking and sleeping facilities and accessory structures, was actually not permitted by the town code at that time. So in addition to challenging that initial application on those legal grounds, our clients have repeatedly asserted that there was inadequate review of this application under the governing site plan standards, and quite simply failed to conduct a full, proper, and objective review of that application. For the sake of brevity, all of those arguments in opposition to that initial application are just incorporated tonight. We just wanted to reinstate them in full by reference, but I know they've been submitted to you in the past. And then following the revocation of the initial site plan approval, the town board, as we know, adopted an amendment to the town code, which was Local Law 14 of 2023, which purports to permit certain golf courses located in the town of Southampton to seek and obtain special permits to allow for the construction of living quarters for golf course employees. So first we note that this code amendment is itself the subject of ongoing litigation because our clients have challenged that, the manner in which it was enacted, including the failure of the town board to undertake a proper SECRA review. So in this context of this latest application which the applicant has conceded is practically identical to the prior application, it really doesn't matter to us in terms of the end result, whether they're seeking site plan approval, a special permit, or both. The fact is that as it relates to what we're seeing in the plans, our clients still feel that it is just entirely incompatible with this residential neighborhood. And for these reasons, our clients continue to assert that this application should be denied. So once again, we thank you all for your time and attention and your careful review of this application. And we just wanted to repeat that for the record for you tonight.
Deborah, can you tell me the law firm you represent?
Sure. It's Matthews, Kirst, Cooley, and Choron, PLLC. So we're at 241 Pantago Road in East Hampton. And I live in Montauk, so I don't usually venture this far west, but I was happy to be here tonight.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Is there anyone on Zoom, Kevin? Two people. You're muted. You're muted.
Hi, my name is Catherine Pruitt.
Your name again, I'm sorry, you're
1043 Scuttle Hole Road.
Catherine Pruitt.
Catherine Pruitt.
What was the address?
1043 Scuttle Hole Road, which is across the street from the proposed project. And I'm not gonna waste time here going through everything again. I'm gonna say I'm opposed to it. We've been here and things have not changed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person, Kevin, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Meredith Berkowitz, and I am a member of the Board of Directors of the Bridgehampton Civic Association. I'm also secretary of that organization. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Bridgehampton Civic Association. One of the things I wanted to ask was about, when we were here last time, I was made aware of the ongoing litigation questioning the enactment of the special exception use. And I was just wondering, as a question, how this moves forward with a possible special exception approval this evening that the applicant is asking for, given that that litigation is pending as to whether it's even a valid enactment of the statute to allow this special exception use. And then secondly, I just wanted to mention that, and it's more of an overall policy issue, which is the 1970 master plan and the 1999 comprehensive amendments and plan talk a lot about preserving the open view sheds. And part of why golf courses get the agricultural assessment benefit from an agricultural assessment is that they, and a lower property assessment, is that they, are considered part of these open lands, and the idea is to preserve that open land and preserve the rural nature of the community. The more and more we see approval for this employee housing, especially in the site of dormitories, large scale, dormitories, 16 bedrooms, ensuite baths. I get that we need the housing for the employees, and I do, but it's a tough balancing act because we are, as even the prior application pointed out, using these view sheds over this farmland. And that was an important part of those plans and the master planning by which, this board has to, sort of follow and take its guidance from. And so I wanted to just, on behalf of the Bridgehampton Civic, ask that you please, consider those considerations as part of your planning process.
Right, just so that you know, the view shed, a great deal of effort went into preserving the view shed into Shorts Pond, and in terms of clearing and trees and what have you. And so we were very clear about preserving that view shed, and they have done that. They have complied. As to your other question, I don't know, counsel, what about litigation? Acting?
You're not doing any decisions tonight. This is just to take public comment, and there's nothing
Right.
that stops us from continuing with that process.
Right. Did you hear that,
I
Meredith?
did, so
Yeah.
there won't be a decision made until
Not at the public hearing. Public hearing is for your comments.
Okay.
Okay?
So this will then get open for comment, or there'll be another, I'm just not
No,
familiar with the process.
probably not.
We'll open for comment, written comment.
We'll leave it open for 10 days for written comments.
But then a decision follows at that point, even if the litigation is not resolved?
I think it's not, is it
There's no stay.
contingent
Is there
on,
any
there's no
stay on
stay on the
proceeding?
litigation.
There is no stay.
No.
There's no stay.
No.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and considerations, and I do appreciate the efforts that have been made to preserve the view sheds. I do think that a large building like this, and I know that they're within the legislative requirements of that new act, it does take away from those as well, and we do appreciate the efforts to preserve them at all, so thank you.
Right, yeah.
Personally, I have to say that the green giants that are before that, you can't see anything. I mean, I drive that way a lot, and at least I can see Shorts Pond now, but the view before that, it doesn't exist, going from the east to the west.
Yes, But I think it still does exist, thankfully coming west to east, so
Yeah.
that would be the focus to at least hold on to that.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Is there anyone else, Kevin?
That's all.
Okay, Wayne, any wrap-up comments?
I do, but I also want to ask the planning board, I received today a copy of a letter dated February 16th from Three Ponds Farm Owner LLC, addressed to the planning board in support of the application. The owners of 939 Scuttle Hole Road and 901 Scuttle Hole Road, and if you don't have that, got two copies.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
Great,
we haven't
thank
seen
you.
Give this to Chris to be submitted as part of the record.
Just one comment, and then I want to reiterate, there is no stay, the challenge to the town board litigation. Unless there was, then this board has to perform its statutory duties. That being said, I also want to comment that the neighbors that were represented tonight by council again, previously also represented the 4 lots that were subsequently sold. And also, they are also the owners of some of those lots that have the green giants that screen the road, that, and we're careful to create a record, and there is the entire character of the area, and we're continuing to look at what impacts, if any, this project has, and this board has already considered that under seeker, and we'll continue to look under our standards to make sure you apply the site plan standards accordingly, to make sure any potential impacts to our neighbors or anybody else are properly addressed.
Great, thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, entertain a motion to close with a 10-day written comment period. Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
By Dennis, second by George, all in favor.
Yay.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. We are adjourned.